Look at this dashboard right here. $126,189 in a single month. And the craziest part, this isn't from coaching, consulting calls, or trading hours for dollars. This is purely digital product revenue, completely automated, scalable, and built entirely through content. 2 years ago, I was making $0 a month trying to start my own business. Today, I run the backend systems for ZTH Training, a creator-led business that has over 3 million followers and does between high 5 figures and 6 figures every single month in profit. And that's on top of running Creator Monetize, where we help multiple other content creators to do the same. And in this video, I'm going to be showing the exact system that we use to do it. Now, I've never shared this publicly before, but after working with multiple content creators and helping them implement this and seeing their results, I realized something. Most creators are just a few steps away from completely transforming their business. So let me show you exactly how we do it. Now, the first thing we need to discuss are the foundations. The foundations are what are going to determine how far we can actually scale this business and how easy it is to actually do that. So in terms of the foundations of this business, it is very, very simple, right? What we're going to do is we're going to target one ideal client, one ideal customer, and then we're going to have one specific product that we sell to them, and we're going to have one funnel and system and content funnel that we use to actually go ahead and sell to them. Now, why that's important is because probably one of the biggest pitfalls and one of the biggest mistakes that creators make is trying to serve multiple people at the same time, trying to have multiple offers, multiple products, and all of that. And that's fine later on down the line once you've scaled past $1 million a year. But in the beginning, to get to $1 million a year, you want to have one specific thing for everything. That's it. Nothing else, because business is complex enough as is. So once you establish proof of concept with one thing so that you can, keep things simple and actually have the best chance of achieving success. And so, for example, with ZTH Training, our specific ideal client was probably 13 to 18-year-old young football players, or soccer if you're in the US, who want to improve. The one funnel that we used is the content funnel that I'm going to walk you through. And then the product was what we call the Player Accelerator, which is also the product that I'm going to walk you through, where we actually help them get the result that they bought for. And so in terms of the tech stack as well, we keep it super, super simple when it comes to content. We're using Instagram, YouTube, and we're using TikTok in order to actually bring in the audience and the traffic that we need. Then we're using ClickFunnels to basically set up a simple funnel that nurtures and educates the audience to go from being just, an audience member, a viewer, to actually being a customer. And then finally on the back end, we use Skool to host the product itself, to automate all of that and actually make sure that we get the customers the outcome that they want. It really should be that simple. Most creators completely overcomplicate it and think that they have to have a bunch of different stuff and tiered products and different offers and all of that. But at the end of the day, to start out, you just want a simple process to take your followers from being followers to being customers, and one product that you deliver on and one person that you target in your content. And so speaking of content, let's now dive into our actual content process and content system, which is at the top of that funnel. And so this is what I call the content machine that actually predictably, consistently brings in millions of viewers, that allows us to then have hundreds of customers on the back end every single month. And so if we look at ZTH's content here, really it's broken down into two main parts, right? There's short form, there's long form. Okay, now the short form, this is really focused on bringing the most amount of viewers possible, mostly, right? And so what happens here is we post short form pieces of content, usually about 2 a day. And this is what gets hundreds of thousands of views consistently, up to tens of millions of views on certain videos, right? And so these explained videos that you see here are a specific style of short form that we found that works incredibly well. Now, the problem with it is that it is very short, and it's about 10 to 15 seconds long, usually, and it doesn't really build a connection with the audience. And to get someone to buy from you, they need to know, like, and trust you, right? And so ultimately, this is great for getting viewers at the top, and it brings in our ideal potential client and potential viewer. However, it doesn't get them to a point where we can actually already make a call to action to get them to go and watch our 20-minute masterclass, which is part of the actual funnel that we'll dive into later on. And so what we have to do here is we alternate that with more talking head type videos, where we talk a little bit more, talk about Harris's journey and all of that, which allows them to get to know Harris a little bit more and know, like, and trust him more, which will allow us to then make a call to action to actually go ahead and watch a masterclass, because at that point they know him a bit better and it makes more sense. So the explained videos are really the top of the funnel that bring in millions of views, and then the more talking head videos, they actually allow us to take those viewers, and they still get decent views, but they're more there for us to be able to actually make a call to action to go to the first step in the funnel, which is to watch a free masterclass, right? Now with YouTube, the beauty of that is that it's a little bit longer. So we still go for views here. And as you can see, you get hundreds of thousands of views a video, but here within the same video, because it's 28 minutes long instead of just 28 seconds long, what we can do is actually within the same video go from, you know, being more broad and getting just most amount of viewers possible to at the end, because they've watched the 28-minute video, we can throughout the video include stuff about Harris's story and more building more connection with the audience and getting them to know, like, and trust him a bit more, so that by the end they are comfortable going ahead and taking that next step, which is watching the free masterclass, and we're actually able to make that call to action to them. And so that's kind of how the content is split. We've got the short form really focusing on bringing the most amount of viewers possible. Then we've got the long form that's a little bit more nurturing and educating them. Both of them then make calls to actions to actually go ahead in the first step of the funnel. When it comes to the short form, what we do is that Harris usually makes a call to action to comment a certain word to then get the free masterclass, right? And so we use ManyChat to then go ahead and automatically send the person who comments the specific video, the masterclass. That is the first step of our funnel. It encourages them to comment, and so it drives engagement on the post, and it gets a lot more people to actually watch the video because they commented to get it, as opposed to just saying, like, go and click the link in bio, which is something that people have heard a lot before, and there's a bit of like resistance around. We still have the link in bio, and some people go and click it through that, but most of it is through the ManyChat automation, where they get automatically DM'd the first step in the funnel if they comment a certain word on the post, and that obviously helps the post do better as well. With YouTube, it's very simple. You simply put the link in the description and then as a top pinned comment as well. Now, what's important about this is you always want to make it, this is a big mistake creators make, is making stuff complicated. You don't want to have like 10 links in your bio, or you don't want to have 10 links underneath your YouTube video, for example. You want to have one, and you usually want it to be above the fold, so no one has to go and click like see more in the description, and that allows it to be just very simple for no one to miss it. So just have a very clear link at the top that people know where to click, and it's very simple. So in a future video, we might dive more into the actual content side of things and how all of that looks, and I might bring on Harris to actually do that. But for now, that's how the content system looks. And so now we take people to the actual web funnel. So let's dive into that. And so to be 100% honest, this might be one of the ugliest funnels you ever see, but the truth is it just converts, and we've tested a bunch of different ones, and ultimately this is the one that just gets the best results, right? So we kind of have a joke that, you know, ugly funnels, pretty profits, because we've tested other ones, and this is the one that just converts the best. I think it's just because it's so simple and straightforward, right? So ultimately what we're doing here is they've been promised a free masterclass, right? That if they want to learn more about how Harris went from, you know, their current position to their dream position, which is, you know, being a better footballer, playing for a pro academy and all of that. And so ultimately what this first page is doing is we're going to capture their name and email so that we can, you know, nurture and educate them in future and be able to send them more stuff in future if they don't convert immediately off of this time that they're visiting the site, which most people won't, right? But ultimately you want to keep this very simple, have a clear headline that promises a big, clear benefit and drives curiosity, and also shows some sort of authority, as you can see here in the space, and then showing what they're going to get, and ultimately getting them to just watch the free training, right? Now, the second step of the funnel, as you can see here, is the actual free masterclass itself. Now, this is a longer video that goes ahead and basically nurtures, educates them, builds those know, like, and trust elements, and ultimately gets them in a position where they want to go ahead and buy the program, and positions basically the program as the next best step for them to be able to achieve their goals. So if someone goes ahead and watches this, they might just get value from it, get inspired, and learn some stuff and decide not to buy it. That's completely fine. But at the end, a lot of people are like, okay, I want to go ahead and actually purchase this. I want to buy this. I want to take that next step. And so because it's a long form video, we posted this on YouTube as well, and it did incredibly well, right? Because this is a sales type video, but it's not just salesy. It's also got some value. It's got a lot of value to it. It did incredibly well on YouTube because we put a lot of time into the script and making sure it had the right elements and all that. And so it actually did over 782,000 views at this point as of the time I'm recording this, and it's probably made over $500,000 just that video right there. But because it was done well, you almost don't notice that it's a sales video because it just naturally inspires you and takes you to a conclusion of like, wow, okay, I want to go ahead and actually purchase this. If it was really salesy, kind of bad video, then it wouldn't do well on YouTube, and people would tell it's like, oh, this is just a marketing or sales video. But as you can see here, the comments are super positive on it as well, even though it's making us a bunch of money, getting a bunch of views and subscribers too. And so anyway, back to the funnel. So once they've watched the video and they're like, okay, I actually want to go ahead and purchase this, then it's pretty simple. We've got the sales page, and here it's very, very simple. Again, we're just stacking the value, right? Showing everything they're going to get, you know, proving to them that they're actually going to be able to achieve the result they want, and talking about the guarantee, talking a little bit more about Harris, but mostly just emphasizing all the value they're going to get and emphasizing how much social proof that we do have and all the testimonials. Then they'll simply go ahead, and if they want to purchase it, they click buy now, and then we've got the checkout, which again, very simple, just collecting their information and go ahead and purchase. And so this is basically lifetime access to the community and program for $397. Now then, finally, we move on to the actual product itself, which is hosted on Skool. And this is where we basically deliver on that promise that we made throughout the funnel, right? Here's where we want to make sure that we give them everything that they need to be able to get the end result that they bought this for, and ensure that it's done in an automatic and predictable way so that every single person who does buy gets the best experience possible. So as you can see here, we host it on Skool, and as soon as they purchase, they go to a post-purchase page, which basically tells them the instructions to be able to actually get access to everything. Now, them buying and then getting access is all fully automated. The only process that is kind of involves a human is the actual approval of them into the community, and that's done by a VA. So at the end of the day, myself, Harris, and most of the team are pretty much completely removed from actually onboarding people. And that's important because it is a lower ticket product, so we're getting a lot more volume. And so they follow the instructions and basically get into the actual community. And then once they are here, they get an automatic message from Harris basically telling them the next step. And then there are also very clear instructions and videos on how to get started so that they can go through the process, right? What they're essentially buying is all of the information on here. So as you can see here, there's a lot of information and a lot of stuff that they unlock as well as the one time a week weekly calls that Harris basically hops on for an hour and talks to everyone. But mostly it's the information side of things and the community itself. And so these videos explain exactly how all of that works. And so again, it's a very automated process. Someone joins, they can get the most amount of value without having to personally speak to Harris or ask a bunch of questions and all of that. And that makes the process very seamless and allows you to sign 300 new customers within the month, and nothing changes if you sign 300 or 3,000, right? And that allows for that scale. And so yeah, then they go through and consume all the content, and that's what they actually paid for. They can hop on the calls, they can talk on the community. It's one of the most active communities on Skool itself. And so this is where they get the actual value from. We've got over 2,400 people on here. At this point, we've probably gotten over 3,000 customers of this actual product. Now that's for something a little bit more lower ticket. There are obviously higher ticket things as well, which involve one-on-one coaching, which involve more coaching calls and access to you, maybe with support and all of that. So obviously that's going to vary in terms of the product that you actually give to people. But the overall concept of having a content funnel, of using Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube to then drive traffic to some sort of funnel that converts people into a customer and then delivering on that customer in an automated way, that is what the top educational content creators use to be able to consistently, predictably generate multiple 5 figures, 6 figures every single month, teaching their knowledge. And that's where a lot of people want to be, where they truly can just make content they love. They can be as involved or as little involved as they want when it comes to actual delivery of product and actually getting people results. And that's when you're able to get these outsized returns, because all you do is focus on the content side of things and you start to really grow that. And that's what grows the entire business. Now, some common pitfalls that a lot of creators fall into. One of the biggest ones is not making enough content, right? Especially in the beginning, you want to put out a lot of content for you to be able to actually get feedback and see what works and what doesn't. For example, those explained videos that I spoke about, we would have never found out that those work so well to bring in a lot of views at the beginning if we had never tested a bunch of different pieces of content. Second thing is not getting really clear on a specific ideal avatar and a specific customer, and making sure you niche down that channel. Especially in the beginning, you want to niche down, because otherwise you're competing with people that are a lot more broad and have a lot more experience, and ultimately you're going to drown out in the noise. You want to be able to conquer a small niche, and then you can go out from there. And then the last one is taking way too long to go ahead and actually launch. So one thing I want to mention is this entire process you can go ahead and do in a matter of like 2 or 3 weeks, because you can pre-launch whatever product it is that you're going to launch if you don't have one already. The way you do that is you basically go ahead and do an early bird discount. You build out the content, build out the funnels, but you don't actually build out the product itself. And only once you've proven the concept, gotten customers in at that early bird discount, that you maybe tell them, hey, it's going to take 4 weeks, 6 weeks to build everything out, but you can join an early bird discount. And then you only build it out once you know it's going to be worth your time, once you've proven the concept, you've gotten cash flow, and then you've also got customers already in the program that can help you to real time, live, build this product in the best way possible, because you can ask them what they actually want. So what that looks like is you can go ahead and actually plan the pre-launch for the first week or two, set everything up, all the funnels, the content systems. Then for maybe 4 to 6 weeks is when you're actually doing the pre-launch itself. So you actually go ahead and launch the pre-launch, and then you spend the next month, 2, 3 months actually building the actual product itself. Now, this can work across multiple different niches. We have worked with creators and done it in hundreds of different niches at this point. The concept is the same, right? You are basically setting up the systems when it comes to the product, when it comes to the funnel, to ensure that that is completely automated and you're predictably consistently taking those followers, turning them into customers. And then all you need to focus on is the follower side of things, avoiding those pitfalls, making sure you do some sort of pre-launch if you're going to use it, making sure that you put out enough content and that you're very specific in who you're targeting, and ultimately you're on the right track to being able to start to generate enough money that you can actually do this full time. So that's pretty much it. At a high level, that is the system that we use to generate over $126,000 in a single month and consistently generate multiple 5 figures, 6 figures a month in profit for our creator business. Now, as I always say, you can absolutely take what I've gone through today and just go ahead and implement it yourself and build this all yourself. But here's the thing, myself and Harris are actually working with a select few creators to actually go ahead and help them do this, right? And use our systems to be able to go ahead and build and monetize your audience. And we actually guarantee results or you do not pay. So if that interests you at all, then go ahead and you can apply in the link below and we can have a chat and we can see if there is a good fit. Again, that's people though who are actually looking to take this seriously. If not, that's completely fine. And either way, make sure to go ahead and like and subscribe for more content on scaling your creator business. And I will see you in the next one.